So this is the worksheet we are going to be working with, practicing with in today's lesson. You can get it by simply clicking the link in the YouTube description. It should bring you to this page. That is my Gumroad. It's free. It's free to download, $0. That is inkmanworkshop.gumroad.com. It should bring you to this page, and to download it, that's just the second one here. Just 2D Shapes Practice Blender worksheet for lesson 2. Just come click it. And it should bring you to a page like this. Just scroll down. And over here, since it's free, you can just put in 0. Or if you want to support the channel, you can put in 1. You can put in 2. You can put in whatever amount you want to help support the channel, but it's free. You don't need to pay anything for it. It's completely free. But if you want to support the channel, I'll really appreciate that. So you can just simply put in your amount and then click I want this. You download the file. It'll be sent to your email by the Gumroad platform, and just download it, open it up in Blender, just like you open any file. Just come and open. Then just come and open. Look for the destination of the folder. It will probably be in your downloads or wherever you save it, and then you can open it. You find it, click it, and then open it. It should bring you to something like this. Yeah, and then that's it. So we can begin practicing then. Okay, so let me just do a quick overview of the area to help you better understand what we are working with. So at the top right corner, we have an empty folder. There's nothing inside. An empty collection, sorry, there's nothing inside. And the second collection, that's where we have our camera and stuff. So let me just zoom in over here. So this is the light, so it disappears and all that. Yeah, camera disappears. All right, and then in this collection, the third one, those are the shapes that we're working with. Okay, so what I've done is, in case you're trying to move these things around, you can move it. Remember in the previous lesson, we talked about the making things unselectable. So you come to the filter, the top right, then you can come here and then turn this on. So now all of a sudden you can have the access to make things disabled or deselect them. But if you come here and you turn on this restriction tool, now you have the ability to restrict or unrestrict things. So you see now I can move things around. Yeah. So once you do this, you can't move it around any longer. Cool. So that's basically a quick setup of what we are going to be working in. Let's begin then. So what I'm going to do is these empty slots are for you to practice and to create the shapes in from scratch. So you put them in the practice set here. Left click this to activate this so that whatever you create goes into the practice set. So you create them over here. I know these are repetitions, but that is why it is practice. You're supposed to repeat the action in each and every one of these squares over and over again, so you get really good at finding your way around and creating the shapes. All right, so I'm going to do this with you. What I'm going to basically do is, I'm thinking I'll just create one for each shape, not all the 3. So it is up to you to create the other 2. Please don't duplicate and drag them into the other box. Don't do that. This is a good opportunity for you to practice. Okay, so practice, create the shapes in each of all the boxes. No cheating, please. All right, so let's begin then. So I'll just click here with a left click. So you can also look at the bottom left to see my screen cap. Shift A and set a plane. It's a really wide plane, so I just press S to activate my scale to bring my mouse closer to the cursor, and then yeah, G to move it, and I have something like this. Let me zoom in a bit. All right, cool. All right, so now let's create this next shape. So what I'm going to do is, to make things easier for you, you can duplicate let's say the starting shape, the primitive shape. Okay, so Control D, and then we have this here. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into edit mode with tab. Now I'm going to press Control R to activate my loop cut, which helps me to create should I put it, to bisect the shape yeah, for want of a better way, to bisect it equally, to divide it into equal parts. So if I bring it closer to this edge, it's drawing a vertical line. If I bring it closer to this edge, it's drawing a horizontal line for this edge, a vertical line for this edge. So I want to cut it across this way. You see, this goes this way. So I bring it to the side and then I cut it. Then I left click. All right, so first click. So let me do that again. Okay, so Control R to activate the loop cut tool. Bring it to this edge to indicate where your initial cut is going to be. Left click. If I move it, it will change the location where I want it to be. Right click would center it to where it was originally. Then I'm good. All right, so I come to the face select. I select my face to activate that mode. Right click the face and then press delete and then faces. All right, I think I'll do that one more time. So let's go back to object mode one more time just for this box. So right click, Shift D to duplicate, G to activate my move tool, X to constrain it on the X axis, drag it here, tab to go into edit mode, Control R to activate my loop cut tool, bring it to this edge here to let me know where my loop cut will be. Left click once to activate the loop cut tool to register it. Left click again to register the exact location where I want it to be so it doesn't move. Go to my face select mode at the top here, or simply press 3. Then it brings it. So it's 1 for the vertex select, 2 for the edge select, and then 3 for the face select. Now come to this face. I want to delete this face. Remember, we are creating this shape. So I right click and I delete that face. Delete. I press delete and then faces. All right, that is it. So that is it for that face. Let's move on to the next shape. So it's similar to this shape, but it's at the bottom. So let's do that one more time. Let me just go back to object mode. Let me just right click this, Shift D, G, and then X to constrain to the X axis. Bring it here. Tab to go into edit mode. Control R, loop cut, click again. Let me zoom in a bit. 3 for face select. Select the top face and then delete the face. All right, let's move on to this one. So this one is just like this, but it's on the left side. Tab to go into object mode. I think to make things easier, okay, you don't worry, that's fine. Let's just right click this, Shift D, G, X, GX, bring it over here. Tab to go into edit mode. Control R to bring the loop cut. Come to this edge. Left click once, left click twice. Select my face. Right click on this face. Delete, and then faces. All right. So please do it for these two, this remaining two. All right, cool. So all right, so this face, this one is just like the other, but then the face is on the other side. So let me just go into object mode with my tab, right click, Shift D to duplicate, G, and then Y to constrain the Y axis, G and Y. Cool. So now I want it other side, okay, not other side like how we just did it. So let's go to edit mode, Control R, click, right click, and then face select this face, press delete on your keyboard and delete the faces. Awesome. Let's move to the next one. That's this. All right, so tab, object mode, Shift D, G, just drag it down here. Tab to go into edit mode, Control R. So this is a bit tricky. All right, so let's do something. Let's right click to undo. Look at the shape very carefully. We have a box here, we have a box here. So what I'm going to show you is a new tool. Press W to bring up your face context menu, then click subdivide, and the subdivide is to 4 different faces. Okay, so now with our face selection mode already activated, we select this, hold shift and then select this. So select those two faces and then delete it. All right, good. So if you didn't get it, you can just rewind real quick to catch that. All right. So let me do for this face, for this shape. Objects mode, Control D, G. Let's move this here. G. Let's see. Okay, cool. Bring it here. Now let's go to tab, edit mode, W to bring the face context menu. Subdivide. Then I hold my shift whilst I select this face and then this face. All right, so delete. So yeah, that's basically just delete the faces. All right, cool. Let's move on to our next shape. That's the shape over here. Object mode. Let me just insert a new plane here. So shift A, mesh plane, S to scale, bring it close to the center here. All right, cool. So we want to bevel. If you look at it very carefully, we want to create some nice round edge over here. All right, so how do we do that? Let's go to edit mode, select the edge, the vertex select mode, vertex select mode over here, the first one. Select this, so click and drag with your left click of your left mouse button, hold shift and then click and drag this one. So when I have these two selected, to just check, you can press G and move it around. See, these are the only ones moving. Let's right click to undo that. Now press Control Shift and then B. Then now bring your mouse closer to the center. See, it starts to bevel. Then now screw your mouse wheel, the middle mouse button, up to create another segment, to create another segment, to create another segment, and then another one. Okay, I think 6 segments are fine. All right, so look at the bottom here. Whilst I'm creating those segments, I would highlight it when I'm editing this video, but then basically at the bottom over here, you just focus on that side to see the number of segments. All right, let's do that again. Let's do that again. Let's left click here, but let's go into edit mode first. Then shift A, set the plane, S to scale, bring it to the middle there about. Now go to edit mode. Let's zoom in a bit. Vertex select mode. What you can also do, you can just left click drag. So it just selects both vertices at the same time. Instead of selecting this, holding shift and then selecting this, you can just just click and drag and you're good to go. All right, so now once again, just watch the bottom here for the number of segments as I scroll the mouse up and down. So Control Shift and B, and now you can bevel. So it's using the previous settings, which was 5. Okay, so let's say if I want to create 8, so that's 6, that's 8. All right, so let's say I want to go back to 6. Let's scroll down 1, scroll down another 1, that's 6. Then left click to register that. All right, awesome. So that's how we create that one. So we have this over here. Let's see. Okay, so this was basically a lot. I think I wanted you to really practice, or this was just one face. All right, so it was supposed to be just one edge, but then I ended up making it 2 edges at the same time. So let's say if you wanted to just do one edge. All right, so let's do one edge over here. Let me come back to object mode with tab, select this, shift D, G, let's bring it down. All right, let's bring it down here. Now I just want to do one, so edit, I'll just select one edge over here, one vertex, sorry, shift, Control Shift B, and I'll just drag it. All right, same, you can increase the number of segments, you can decrease the number of segments. Let's just go with 6. Left click to register it. Let's go back into object mode. I want to create this shape over here. All right, so let's just select this, shift A, let's bring in our plane, S to scale. All right, cool. Now we're doing the round corners for all of it. So let's go back to edit mode with tab. All the edges, why do I keep on saying edges? All the vertices have already been selected. All the vertices have already been selected. So just press Control, Shift, and then B, and then you can drag it outward, and you see it starts to bevel it already. All right, cool. I think somewhere around, we can also reduce it a bit. Let's see. All right. I think, let's see. I think something like this is fine. Yeah, something like this is fine. All right, cool. Let's move on to the next one. So that's like this shape, but then, you know, so that I'm talking about this one. So it's like this shape, but then cut off. All right, so how do you think we're going to go about this? All right, let's go. We're already in object mode. So let's just come here, click, Shift A, insert a plane, S, move your mouse closer to the center of the cursor. Cool. Now, you might think you would like to bevel this first, but let me show you what you would have probably thought of doing and why it might give you a bit of trouble. So let's go into edit mode. All the vertices are selected. Good, I said the correct thing this time around. The vertices are selected. Control Shift B, drag outward. And you might think, oh, now let me just add a loop cut here. So you add a loop cut and it's behaving funny. What's going on? All right, so let's say you also want to select all the edges, then Control R. Okay, now where's my loop cut? Select, it's acting funny. All right, cool. So let's go to object mode and let's just delete this. All right, so how you go about this? So you get used to this, you know, planning your shapes in your mind ahead of time, knowing how to structure the various maneuvers, operations you'll be making, so you don't find yourself in a tough spot like this. So Shift A, set the plane, S to scale, bring it to the middle. Then now what you do, let's go to edit mode with tab. This is the shape we're going for, remember? So Control R, loop cut, bring it to the edge here. Left click once, left click again to register it. Press 3 to go into face select mode. Right click this face, delete it. Now come to edge select. Left click and drag these edges. This is the shape we're going for, remember? Control Shift B. And yeah, you've created a shape. Nice. So do that once again for the other ones. You can also do it again for here. All right, so let me do it for this shape. So Shift A, S, bring it to the middle. So this is good practice, you know, just getting familiar with the shapes. Control R, how to create them. Left click once, left click again. I think I made a bit of error there. Control R, left click again. 3 to go to face select mode. Select the top, delete the faces. Go into vertex select, click and drag the vertices you want to round off. Control Shift B, drag it outward. If you're happy with what you like, left click to register it. Good, back into object mode. All right, so you do that for these ones too. So let's see this one. How do you think we'll go about it? Okay, so to make life easy, let me just come here and duplicate this. Okay, I'll just bring it somewhere here. I'll just be working it down. So I'll be duplicating this and then working with it. So Control D to duplicate it. Let's bring it here. Which shape are we creating? All right, so we're creating this shape. This is the shape we're creating. All right, so tab, edit mode, Control R, loop cut, left click once, left click again. 3 to go to first select mode. Right click the top one, delete the face. Go back to vertex select mode. Box click, drag the bottom. Control Shift B, drag outward. That's a bit too much. I think this is fine. All right, cool. I think we've already created this shape. Oh, sorry, my bad. Okay, so this is a shape we wanted to create. Anyways, good practice. Let's continue. Shift D, G, bring it here. All right, tab, Control R, loop cut, select, left click again. 3, select the face, delete it, faces. Vertex select, box click, Control Shift B, bring it down. Nice. Now this side, okay. Let me just come here, duplicate this. with Shift D. All right. Tab, Control R, loop cut, click again. 3, select the face, delete this face. Vertex select, box click, drag, Control Shift B, and bring it down a bit. All right, cool. All right, I'm happy for it. Okay, so this is the next shape we are creating. Let's just come here and right click this, Shift D, G over here. Okay, cool. So let's go to edit mode. So 4 faces, remember W, subdivide. So now you have the 4 faces. 3 to go into face select mode, select this face, hold Shift, select this face, then you can delete the faces. All right, now we're beveling this vertex and this vertex. So you can come here, left click this vertex, hold Shift, left click this vertex, press Control Shift B, and drag it out a bit. Cool, and we have this. If you didn't catch it, you can rewatch. Just go back a few seconds and then kindly rewatch that one. All right, well, we how many shapes do we have to go? All right, just a few more shapes. Okay, so I figure at this point you know how to pull this off. Okay, it's just like this, but in a reverse order. Okay, so now it's time for the circle. You can come here, press Shift A, and then circle. Now usually this is not what will happen. Usually this is what will happen. You won't see your circle because it's blank and there's no space inside. So what you can come is come to fill type. It's usually at the bottom here. Okay, you come to the add circle, fill type, and then select triangle fan. All right, now press S, and you can scale it in a bit. All right, and that's your circle. So to create this semicircle thing at the top, let's duplicate this, G, and then this. All right, now let's go into edit mode of tab. This is the shape we are creating. So let's go to face select mode. Look at the shape very carefully. This is what we're creating. So if I click and drag, let's look at it very carefully. If I click and drag the bottom here, and I press delete, I would have created that face. Simple as that. Let's go back to object mode. So the same thing you do for this, and the same thing you do for this and for this. Now let's look at this. This is a bit of an interesting shape. How would you do for this? Let me just duplicate this one, bring it down. All right, good. So okay, good. So let's go to edit mode. Look at the shape very carefully. So you can come here, select this, delete the faces. So make sure you're in face select mode. Click here, delete these faces, and ta-da! You have the shape. Same for this. Let's try this shape and see how you're going to pull it off. Control D to duplicate. Bring it down. Let's scroll in. Look at the shape very carefully. Let's go to edit mode. So now make sure that you're in the face select mode. All right. So you can click and drag. This won't go, so I'm selecting the wrong thing. So click and drag this instead. Make sure that the face is selected. Another thing that really helps is you can press Shift, so you can press Z, and then move your mouse to number 4 to go into wireframe mode. So now, the moment your mouse or your box select touches one of the dots, okay, you see this dot in there, this dot, it will select that face. So you have to be careful. So if I select this face and I don't select this dot, see what happens? It selects only this face. But the moment I select this dot and this dot, it selects this face. Look at it again. So I select this and I'm just about here, I don't select it, it doesn't select it. But I come here and I cover that dot, it selects it. All right, cool. So let's look at the shape we're creating. Make sure that all the dots are covered. All right, cool. And delete the faces. I'm deleting this section over here. Make sure all the dots are covered. And delete the faces. Hold Tab Z, hold Z, and then go to solid mode. Shift to go back to object mode, and ta-da! We have that shape. Cool. Now let's create okay, I'll leave these ones for you because they're quite simple. Let's create this shape. This is a shape you'll be creating probably a lot. Alright, so let's click here, Shift A, mesh plane, S to scale, bring it in the middle. Go to edit mode, vertex select. Let's select these top vertices. Vertex select these two top vertices. Control Shift B, and then drag it down. What you can also do is, once you're dragging it down, to create this nice shape you see over there, let's move our segments to 6. Okay, then now press 1 to have this nice round shape where it has this overlap of vertices sort of, but it just gives this nice, really nice shape. Just press enter and that is it. Okay, I'll do it again, alright, because I know it's a bit tricky. So let me just click here, Shift A, sorry, let's go into object mode, Shift A, plane, S, scale it all the way in the middle. Alright, edit, box select these ones, Control Shift B, and then bring it in the middle, then press the number 1, and that is it. The reason why I didn't let us go to 6 again is because it has already picked up the 6 from the previous shape that we just created. Alright, and that is it. Let's go into wireframe mode to see what we got. Alright, that's cool. Hold Z and then solid. So that's to go into wireframe mode is Z. Alright, let's look at this shape. It's an interesting shape. Let's go to object mode, Shift A. Let's add a circle. It's not empty because it's using the previous settings for the circle, so you don't have to do the work all over again. Alright, so let's see what we got. This is a bit tricky and it actually got me. So this is actually a square. So let's delete this. So it's good to practice these shapes. It helps you to really think in terms of shapes. Sometimes you can just look at a shape and ask yourself, what does this shape comprise of, or what is the basic primitive shape of this, and how can I modify it further to create an interesting shape. So you look for the most basic shape and then you do that. So look at how I'm going to pull this off. So I'm going to select this. Alright, hold Shift, select this, press Control Shift B, and do you see it now? Just press 1 to have this nice shape. So it's nice, rounded, everything is looking very beautiful. Alright, so let me do that once again because this is a bit tricky. So Shift, tab to go into edit mode, Shift A, insert a plane, S to scale it down. Alright, tab to go into edit mode, select this, hold Shift, select this vertex, Control Shift B, move your mouse, then press the number 1, and then that is it. You know what you can also try? Let's try something. Look at what happens. Control Shift B if I press the number 2. You see? So backspace to just delete that value, and then 1 gives you this nice shape. Let's backspace and let's press 3 and see. Yeah, it's having some weird overlap of vertices. So backspace to delete that, and then let's press 1 again, and then left click to register it. That's a nice shape. Okay, cool. So now let's create our star over here. So press Shift A, go to mesh, set a circle, come to the add circle. So instead of 32, you want 10. You understand why very soon. All right, good. Now let's scale it down. Now let's count the number of faces over here on this one. Okay, on this star. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's why we picked 10. Tab to go into edit mode. Then we select this vertex, select this vertex, select this vertex, select this vertex, and then select this one. Then press S, and then you scale it in. And that's your star. All right. So if you didn't catch it, just quickly rewind and watch that again. All right. So the same with the star over here. So if you come over here to the star, let's do Shift D to duplicate this. All right. So if you want to create a shape, all you have to do is just come in here, go to face select mode, click and drag, and then you can delete those faces. All right. But I hope that you would go through the process of starting from a decagon, then picking the vertices, creating your star before you cut it. All right. Now let's look at creating this shape over here. It's like a plus kind of sign. Let's go to object mode, click in the middle, Shift A, set a plane, S, let's scale it to the middle, go to edit mode with tab. Now press W to bring up your face context menu, subdivide. Now come to the bottom here, to this menu here, and let's move it up to 2. So now we have 3 by 3. So now if I'm still in face select mode, I can just come in here, select this, hold shift, select this, select this, select this, and delete it. And ta-da! You have this plus sign. Now let's create this pentagon shape thing. Shift A and circle. And as I said, pentagon. So 5. All right. S to scale it down. Oops. All right, great. So tab to go into edit mode. You can come here to the vertex mode, select this, press S and X, just scale it up a bit. Now press A, select everything. Make sure that the faces are selected, the face select mode. Press I to insert a face, and then drag your mouse in the middle. And you have this. Now you can delete it. All right. Now let's create this nice fluffy looking star over here. Shift A, add a circle, working with 10. Remember the star, 10 sides. S, drag it in the middle. Go to edit mode, vertices, select this one, select this vertex, select the middle, press S, scale it. Now come and select this edge, this vertex, this vertex, this one, and this one. Then press Ctrl Shift B, and now you can bevel. And you've created this nice star. So you please do the same for the remaining ones. All right, so with the circle, same operation like this. Just press I to insert a face. And with this, all right, let's see, let's create a shape. Shift A, set the plane, S to scale it in. Zoom in a bit. Tab to go into edit mode, W to subdivide. Come select your subdivision here. Let's move it to 2. Let's go to edit mode, object mode, S. Let me scale it up a bit. Tab. All right, now I'm going to select the faces here and delete those ones. Make sure face select is selected. Shift, select these ones and delete. So that's just shift and then drag. Let me do that again. So shift and I just drag this face first without holding shift. Then I press shift and then I drag these faces and then I delete it. Cool. Then now what I come and do is just select these. Let me zoom in a bit. Select these vertices, press M, then merge at center. Click and drag the vertices, press M, and then merge at center. You have this nice shape. You know, it can become like a kind of a boat thing. like a boat. All right, we're almost wrapping these things up. Yeah, so that's basically it. You can create these shapes at the bottom here. Let me see. Let me create this shape. So let's go to object mode, Shift A, and plane. Let's scale this in a bit. Edit mode, W to subdivide. Okay, let's see. Let's move it up to 2. Okay, I think I like this because I'm going to create the bevel, at this side. So all I do is just come here to the face select, just click and drag these ones, delete these faces. Then I'll go to the vertex select this vertex, Control Shift B, and then drag it. And yeah, we have the shape. For this is like literally the same thing as this. Let me just create the shape for you. All right, Shift A, plane. That's the scale, bring it down a bit. Edit mode, W, subdivide, click the menu here, shift it up to 2. Go to face select mode, click and drag these faces. And then let's go to edit mode, object mode, then press R, and then you can rotate it. And then press 45 to rotate it to 45 degrees, and then left click. And that is it. So yeah, we've gone through all of these shapes, at least most of them. Yeah, I hope you found this helpful. So I will leave a link in the description if you want to submit this to me to just go through your work to make sure that everything is fine. You just want some critique, some feedback on the shapes you've created. Just click the link below and you'll be able to easily submit today's assignment. That's lesson 2, creating shapes, 2D motion graphics in Blender course. All right, I hope this was helpful. So let's see what we're going to be creating in our next lesson then. In the next lesson, we are going to finally start animating. We'll begin with a location transformation animation, where we simply change the position of various shapes on the screen. Most motion graphics are simply that. A couple of illustrations, changing the positions and creating the illusion of motion or animation whilst telling a story. All right, see you in the next lesson then.